The first way that will help you accumulate money very effectively and quickly is simply to postpone buying, not to buy. What's the point? When you see that buy now button, buy now, or you want to buy something, just remove your emotions and postpone that purchase for 24 hours. Just wait just a moment, friends. Just wait 24 hours. Wait for that time as you sleep on that idea. You know, from the Russian fairy tales out there, yesterday is wiser. Please do it this way. It helps me a lot. Why? Today, in our world of marketing and advertising, when we are just bombarded with all these advertising messages and we don't know what to spend our money on, they know it and they try to take your money from you. Yes, huge corporations work for this, but you probably don't need this stuff. And if you put off that impulse buy when you want to buy now, trust me, it will make you a smarter consumer. The second way you'll save money very quickly is to always ask yourself, I want to buy these glasses, for example, but do I really need it right now? Pose this question to yourself, and if you are in doubt, postpone the purchase. Take that amount of money you would spend, and if someone offers you the same amount of money in the form of real money, what would you prefer? If you would prefer money, postpone the purchase. A third way that helps me a lot to accumulate money is to always calculate how much that purchase is worth in hours of my time. The thought is simple. If your purchase costs $100, for example, consider how many hours you have to work to earn that money. This will help you better estimate the cost of your purchases and make more informed choices. If you're only making $10 an hour, just $10, then that purchase is a thing worth 10 hours in your life. Now imagine if it's worth it for you to spend those 10 hours of your life to possess that thing. That's another filter to put yourself through without spending the money to buy it. And it's a powerful filter. By doing so, you will allow you to save money and accumulate it faster. If you haven't signed up yet, do it right now, because there's a fourth way to accumulate your money fast waiting for you. And that way is to create a separate account and transfer money into it. Just an account. Get yourself, for example, if you live in a system where you have dollars, get yourself a foreign exchange account or just buy foreign currency. The thing is, when you buy foreign currency, you can't spend them right away. For example, go to the store. You will need to exchange them. So you need to complicate the whole system a little bit. Get yourself an account that you don't see every day, but that you just transfer money to. So don't just keep it somewhere in a desk, in a visible place, and of course, that way you'll want to spend it at some point. But when the money is there, on the one hand, it's liquid, that is, you can quickly cash it out and use it if you need it. On the other hand, it's not as quickly available, meaning you have to take certain actions to get that money. Such methods. One of those is a closed bank account. When you just don't have access to it on your phone and you just transfer money there every month from your paycheck, or if you're saving up for something, transfer money and you don't check that account every day. You don't have access to it and you can't just go there to pay somewhere or transfer money into currency. That's also one very effective method of keeping money out of your hands. And finally, the fifth effective method that helps me personally is called futures. That is future value. What does that mean? For example, you want to make some purchase today, for example, for $10. How much will that money be worth to you in the future? I'll give you an example. For example, you have $10. If you invested at 7% per annum, that's the most conservative way. Yes, 7% per annum, then imagine, 30 years. And 30 years will go by very fast. Time runs very fast. So, in 30 years, those dollars will be worth $76. That's what it's worth in your today's $10. Your today's $10 are worth $76 in 30 years. I'm taking a small amount on purpose, put it here, and you'll see what the effect is. So the bottom line is, when you learn to think that I'm not buying something now for $10, but I'm buying this thing for 76, it also works in a very such a way. You stop, and if you do need to make that purchase, you go and make it. Here are 5 ways that are out of the box, not out of the box, ways that are just every month, ways that will allow you to reduce your spending, eliminate some impulse buys, and save more money. So use them, make sure, and of course, enter your budget, start tracking how much you earn, keep a concrete record of your income and expenses. This will help you understand even more about what's going on in your life. We all strive for a good life, and each of us would like to make our life even better. But in most cases, our finances, or more precisely, our small salaries, do not allow us to do this. Today, we're going to look at 6 techniques that will allow you to save money in the most efficient way possible. Be sure to watch this video to the end and choose one of these methods for yourself. Let's start with a simple one. The first scheme is the 20 by 80 scheme. Using this scheme involves the following steps. First, pay off all debts and loans and save 20% of your income in the bank. This is the money you should never spend. And with 80% of the remaining amount, you can live at your pleasure. In order not to have a breakdown in the process, you need to remember the order of priority. First save and only then spend. If 20% is too much for your budget, try starting with 10% or at least 5%. This will help you develop a habit and, of course, build an initial savings fund. A little more complicated in this method of budget planning. Income is divided roughly as follows: 60% for basic expenses, 10% for retirement savings, 10% for long-term purchases and payments, 10% for irregular expenses, and the remaining 10% for entertainment. Core expenses include food, utilities, transportation, clothing, and so on. Long-term purchases can be classified as, for example, buying a car, making repairs, and paying off current debts. Expenses include car repairs, doctor visits, large gifts, and so on. Great, and the interest on these is high. It is worth directing 10% of your pension savings into this area until the debt is paid off in full and your financials improve. The third scheme is called tithing. This method involves putting aside 10% of any income into a savings account. Setting aside this amount is completely painless on the budget and has little to no impact on changing your quality of life. If keeping 10% of your income intact is easy, try putting aside 15% or even 20%. Scheme half method. It consists of dividing all income into 2 parts. One for spending on everyday needs, and the other for saving in the bank. Money ends, you go to the bank, and from the deposited amount is again separated half. The cycle can be repeated if necessary. It is considered that at the end of the month, there will be at least some amount left. Each time the money comes up, you will subconsciously save money. The method is more suitable for those who find it difficult to keep track of their daily spending. The fifth method is called the 4-envelope method. You need to calculate the total amount of expected income, then subtract from it all the money for large purchases and save 10 to 20%. Subtract money for regular expenses, rent, kindergarten fees, and so on. We divide the remaining amount into 4 parts and get 4 envelopes. 1 envelope for each week. From each envelope you can spend on whatever you want: food, entertainment, transportation, and so on. You can't go beyond the allocated budget. At the end of the month, the balance can be put aside in savings. It all depends on their number of your financial ideas.